You're listening to Intelligent Medicine, a resource to help you take control of your health. We offer a balanced, objective analysis of all your health, wellness, and aging options, both conventional and alternative. Now you can take your engagement to the next level by joining FullScript. FullScript is my online dispensing platform that only offers curated, professional-grade supplement brands that I know and trust. Never counterfeit or expired, always stored and shipped correctly. Just go to drhoffmanstore.com for more information and to start your free FullScript account. Buying through FullScript offers fast, free shipping, optional refill reminders, a mobile-friendly site. It's safe, secure, and HIPAA compliant and offers world-class support. Just go to drhoffmanstore.com. You'll get access to the supplements and features you need to help you achieve your wellness goals, including my custom targeted protocols that combine the products I recommend to address specific needs, heart health, immune support, and much more. It's all at drhoffmanstore.com. drhoffmanstore.com.
Welcome to Leyla Weighs In. I'm Leyla Muedin, your host. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist here in New York City. If you'd like to make an appointment with me, call the number 2-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. If you'd like to email me with a question, hear me answer or weigh in on, give my opinion on, take a deep dive, that email is questions@drhoffman.net. That is questions@drhoffman.net. And if you don't already do so, sign up for the Intelligent Medicine newsletter. Very easy to do. Comes about once a week in your inbox. Go to drhoffman.com and click sign up. And sign up. We don't use your email for anything else. Today, I want to talk to you about a common vitamin deficiency that can mimic normal aging. 2 micrograms is an almost unimaginably small amount, right? It weighs less than a tiny fragment of a grain of table salt. Yet adults need only around this amount of vitamin B12 each day, depending on the guideline used, to support red blood cells, nerves, nervous system, and DNA production. In 2026, it is 100 years since George Minot, spelled M-I-N-O-T, and William Murphy reported that a liver-rich diet could treat pernicious anemia, then a frequently fatal disease at that time. Well, their work transformed medicine and eventually led scientists to identify B12 as the substance in liver that treated the disease called pernicious anemia. But the route to that breakthrough began with an unexpected clue from animal experiments. The American physician and pathologist George Whipple had shown that liver helped dogs recover from anemia caused by blood loss. Blood loss anemia happens when the body loses red blood cells through bleeding. Pernicious anemia, however, is different. The problem is not the bleeding, but poor absorption of vitamin B12. Even so, Whipple's experiments pointed researchers toward liver as a source of a powerful blood-forming factor. Patients with pernicious anemia who had been close to death often improved dramatically within weeks of eating liver-rich diets. Let me say that again. Those with pernicious anemia who had been close to death, imagine that, often improved dramatically within weeks of eating liver-rich diets. The success of liver treatment eventually led scientists to isolate the deep red compound now known as vitamin B12 or cobalamin. Now, despite decades of research, vitamin B12 deficiency remains common, particularly among older adults, vegans, vegetarians, and people with conditions that affect absorption. Some people do not consume enough B12 because it is naturally found mainly in foods from animals, including meat, fish, eggs, and it's in the yolk, and dairy products. Others struggle to absorb it properly. This becomes more common with age. Some older people produce less stomach acid, which is needed to release B12 from food. Others develop autoimmune gastritis, in which the immune system damages stomach cells involved in producing acid and intrinsic factor, the protein needed for B12 absorption. Weight loss surgery and some medicines used for diabetes or acid reflux can also reduce absorption. The symptoms of deficiency can develop slowly, and they're often mistaken for normal aging. Hey, you're older now, you're not going to have as much energy as you did, right? You probably heard that. People may feel exhausted, weak, or short of breath. Some develop numbness or tingling in their hands and feet, poor balance, memory problems, or what many describe as brain fog. Now, these symptoms are not specific to B12 deficiency, so persistent tiredness, tingling, or balance problems should be checked rather than assumed to be a simple vitamin problem. People at higher risk, including vegans, vegetarians, older adults, and those taking medicines that affect stomach acid or diabetes treatment, may need testing or supplementation advice from a health professional. Think about it. If you're taking a diabetes medicine like metformin, for example, it is shown to reduce B12 in the body. So anybody taking diabetes treatment, particularly metformin, you need a B12 supplement. Think about that. And of course, if you're taking a proton pump inhibitor, Nexium, Prilosec, omeprazole is the generic, right? Acifex, those, you need your stomach acid and the intrinsic factor to absorb B12. So if you're taking medicine to reduce stomach acid, you may be in trouble. It can cause B12 deficiency. Doctors have traditionally linked tiredness in B12 deficiency to anemia. Without enough vitamin B12, the bone marrow cannot produce healthy red blood cells. Instead, it releases unusually large and immature cells carry oxygen less effectively around the body. But anemia may not be the only reason people with low B12 feel exhausted. In humans, vitamin B12 is directly needed by only two enzymes, the proteins that help chemical reactions happen in the body. One helps the body make DNA, which cells need when they divide. The other helps mitochondria process certain fats and protein building blocks. Mitochondria are the tiny structures inside cells that help turn food into usable energy. This mitochondrial role has attracted growing interest from researchers studying aging, muscle function, and vitamin B12 status. A 2026 study explored what happens when cells do not have enough B12. Researchers found that low B12 could interfere with the DNA inside mitochondria and reduce energy production in laboratory models of skeletal muscles. This is muscle cells studied outside of the human body. A related study in aged female mice found that B12 supplementation improved several signs of mitochondrial health in muscle, including the number and structure of mitochondria. Together, this work points to one possible reason why some people with low B12 report fatigue before obvious anemia is actually detected. These findings do not mean B12 supplements can reverse aging or act as an energy booster for people whose B12 levels are already normal. You understand that. If your B12 is normal, taking more isn't necessarily going to help you. Scientists have suspected a link between B12 and mitochondrial function for many years because one of the two B12-dependent enzymes works inside mitochondria. Earlier research has also suggested that low B12 status may be linked with poorer muscle function in older adults, although much of this work is observational and cannot prove cause and effect. So if you're feeling persistently tired, is it worth paying for B12 injections at a wellness clinic? For most people, no. B12 injections are an established treatment for diagnosed deficiency, particularly when absorption is impaired. And National Health Service, this is in the UK, uses hydroxycobalamin injections for vitamin B12 deficiency anemia. Here in the US, we use B12 infections for people who do have absorption problems, but you want to get tested to see if you're low in B12. There's no reason to get a B12 injection if your B12 levels are normal and you don't have these issues. But the story of vitamin B12. So, first of all, wait a minute, let me back up. There is little evidence that B12 shots boost energy, weight loss, or performance in people whose B12 levels are already in the normal range. The more useful first step is to find out what is causing the tiredness. So it does need a complete workup. This is true. But there is little evidence that B12 shots boost energy, weight loss, or performance in people whose B12 levels are already normal. The more useful first step is to find out what is actually causing you to be tired. The story of B12 is unusual because the body needs so little of it. Think of the 2 micrograms we're talking about. Yet, the consequences of deficiency can be profound. Long before scientists understood its chemistry, doctors recognized that something in liver could restore strength, appetite, and vitality to desperately ill patients. A century later, researchers are still finding that this tiny cobalt-containing molecule does more than prevent anemia. It may also help explain how cells maintain energy and function as the body ages. And this is out of InnoVision. This is really extraordinary. Well, not extraordinary for me, but I'm bringing it to you because of the importance of B12. And the reason I bring it up is there is such a movement to go vegetarian and vegan, and I'm seeing more and more clients who are going vegan and vegetarian, and they've been doing it for a while. In the beginning, they feel fine. And it may take months or even a few years, because the one thing about B12 is it recycles itself to some degree in the body. That's a good thing. And it doesn't take much of it to restore health. 2 micrograms, as they say in this article. So because B12 recycles itself, it may take a few years before a real deficiency presents itself, like in a blood test, right? So you may feel fine being vegetarian, vegan for a while. You may feel great, all of that, but it's over time. It doesn't happen immediately. It's over some time that things go a little bit awry and that you may start feeling a difference. And that's something you want to be able to pay attention to. So, B12 is only an animal protein, as is mentioned here. And as far as in the eggs, it's mostly in the yolks. That's also where the iron, selenium, vitamin D. So the vegetarians who are lacto-ovo vegetarians, meaning they include eggs, they include dairy products, they are getting B12 there, thankfully. So it's possible to be vegetarian, a lacto-ovo vegetarian, where you're eating dairy and you're eating eggs, that you're getting B12 and your B12 should be okay. But for those who are vegan, it is a problem because vegans, they're not having any animal products at all. So they have to rely on a B12 supplement to get their B12. I've seen many who are vegans that are very low in things like iron, in ferritin levels, which is the storage form of iron. They're low in B12. They're low in energy. They're low in things like carnitine and CoQ10. You don't get those things from a vegan diet, but you do get plenty of it in liver. You're also not getting a whole lot of vitamin A. Vitamin A you get from animal fat, you get in egg yolks, you can certainly get a lot of it in liver, right? You get beta carotene from your vegetables, the dark green leafies, the oranges like carrots, the reds. You're getting those, right? The carotenoids. But that relies on the body's enzymatic processes working, functioning properly to make that conversion to retinol, the fully bioavailable form of vitamin A. That's what we're talking about. So imagine this, eating a little bit of animal fat or liver, maybe just a couple of ounces. You get the full-on retinol vitamin A, the bioavailable form, whereas you may have to eat about 2 pounds of carrots. Wow. Think about that. How many carrots do you want to eat? Save it for the horses, right? The carrots and apples. So you want to consider that. If you're going to eat that many carrots, it becomes a lot of sugar as well. Yeah, you could do carrot juice and all of that. You're pre-digesting it in the blender. So if you have any metabolic abnormalities or blood sugar issues, that's not the best way to get your beta carotene. It's certainly not any way to get your vitamin A. There's also a lot of vitamin A in butter. Butter, red meat, liver, egg yolks, dairy, you're getting vitamin A there. And that's really what you want. And for those of you who enjoy liver, all the better. You don't need a whole lot of it. Maybe a tablespoon or two, but I enjoy eating liver from time to time. I may eat it a few times a month or once a week, especially if I find it on sale. And I love to just cook it in the skillet in some butter, maybe with some chopped onions. It does not take long to cook. It is absolutely delicious, right? I prefer not to do the breading preparations that you may find in some restaurants where they cut it in cubes and they bread it. I do cut it in cubes. I do all that. Or I may have a liver steak. My husband and I both enjoy that. So we're getting plenty of B vitamins, carnitine, CoQ10, loads of vitamin A, and that's great. And we enjoy liver. Some people don't enjoy it. That's okay. It's a texture thing for many people. I don't want you to eat food you don't like, but certainly getting any amount of red meat, dark meat, poultry, all of that, you're getting B12 there. Even in the white meat, you're getting the B12 there. It's fine. So getting any animal protein at all is certainly helpful. But if you are showing signs of low energy, tingling in your extremities, poor balance, maybe weakness, shortness of breath, you do need a full workup. And guess what? A vitamin B12 test needs to be a part of that by your doctor. You need to have that done because a vitamin deficiency can mimic normal aging. We're not meant to get more tired and weak as we get older, not if we're doing it right? I want to thank you for joining me on another edition of Leyla Weighs In. This is Intelligent Medicine.
I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything Intelligent Medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations.
This is Leyla Muedin, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.